Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Tiana here once again, and I'm back for the Maxi Toys, and welcome back to more Let's Play of Mario Party DS for Nintendo DS. So last time that we actually did tackle through the final board in Mario Party DS, Bowser's Pinball Machine, and even then I have a really have fun time on there, and even then though, much like in any other boards, except for DK Stone Statue, mind you, that as I mentioned earlier, that I pretty much dominated for that board. So anyways, today for this episode, especially the next video during today, which was actually the 11th of December, but even then I just wanna, because of that, I just need to actually get this game finished until when it's like 2017 or something. So the first video we'd like to showcase, and that was the fact that this game actually features a story mode. But what happens is that I'm about to be showing you all the cutscenes that represents from the story, and also I might actually show you some of the boss battles that how this game offers once you progress for the story mode. So anyways, I'll let you watch during all the cutscenes, including all the boss battles entirely for that as well. So I'll let you guys do enjoy those. The Mario Cruise adventure begins late one night. 5 dazzling objects shoot across the sky and fall to Earth. One falls near Mario. It's more like we're a prequel to Mario Party 9 syndrome. Kind of. The next day, Mario tells the crew what he found. It's a sky crystal. Just then, there is one more surprise. Hey chumps, I'm throwing a big Bowser bash to apologize for such a big jerk. So I've got a brief of free grab letouts for all of you. Come and get it, Bowser. Oh, is he behind all this again? Bowser's party invitation also gets into Donkey Kong's hands. DK races off to Bowser's castle to get first crack at the snacks. Who can resist? 3 eats can't be beat. The Mario crew also gets to the bash. Is it too good to be true? Of course. Wahahaha, you fell for one of my traps again. Now give me that sky crystal. See my minimizer here? Guess what it does? It shrinks you all down to size. What? Oh, so that's what it does. I see you trying to tell me that. Wahahaha, your sky crystal is mine. Now all I need are the other 4. Kamek, I'm done with these pewees. Give them a boot. Are you for real? Shrinking down, fling far away, it's a complete mess for the Mario crew. Jeez. The mini-heroes pick themselves up and look at the mega world around them. But there's no time for sightseeing, not when there's work to be done. Our heroes must find the other sky crystals, beat Bowser, and return to normal. Seems self-explanatory. The entire Mario crew leaps into action. They all want to be one who saves the day. Even the best of friends can be perceived rivals when it comes to being a heroic superstar. And so our tiny heroes set out on their big adventure to bring down Bowser. Seems very standard. Wiggler's Garden. At least a party of small fries can agree on one thing: they must go to Bowser's castle. But just as they start making their way through the big world... Hey teensy wincy party people, I see you busy being small, but... I need help. That grocery piranha plant is making a mess of my garden. Would one of you, we folk, stop that brat pretty please? Well, everyone jumps at the chance to beat the big hero. To beat such a large enemy, they need to gather stars and use their power. The person who gets the most stars will be a superstar, and then the superstar will take on the piranha plants with the power of the stars. Try to gather the most stars to become a superstar, Luigi. Well, at least one of. So here we go with the first boss battle in Mario Party DS, and that was Feed and Seed. Catch the bomb seeds at the Piranha Plants, spits out, then drop them back in the boss's open mouth. And then basically you have to, like, you know, the Piranha Plant's skeleton will slowly grow stronger. Tap B or tap A to struggle upwards to avoid being swallowed. So basically doing this minigame here is to actually just throw, if you want to actually catch the bomb seeds, you're gonna have to be sure you need to press the B button at the right time just to actually catch the bomb seed entirely. And then what happens is that if you manage to actually get yourself, like, if you watch the Piranha Plant's sucking ability, very similar to Kirby, but even then though, that he doesn't have a copy ability, but even then though, that's how this boss's weakness is, and that was the fact that you need to actually just chuck the bomb seed back at him. So that's all he does basically when it comes to this boss battle in general. So it's pretty simple for the most part, but even then though, sometimes it gets a little bit more accuracy when it comes to dealing with some huge emphasis on timing on your bomb tossing and all that kinds of stuff. But even then though, this boss fight actually represents the first board in Mario Party DS, which was Wiggler's Garden. So, and basically every time you actually won the victory board during the story mode, and yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I think I've sort of mentioned that before, that whenever you play story mode, you always have to play through each of those 5 boards throughout in the game. But even then though, that's it. Again, this game actually has a grand total of 5 boards to play through. But even though, what happens is that upon entering the board itself, you always have to go through 10 turns, and then after when 10 turns is over, there's no bonus stars to be accomplished with, and there's also the main emphasis, I think, you have to actually collect the most stars and power stars, or in this case, power stars and coins. Forget what I just said, but anyways, that concludes the Piranha Plants. Oh, huge thanks from me to you. Please take this, Luigi. Well, it depends on what characters you'll be using. Sometimes they actually bring up some different names and even some different models. Depends on what characters you'll be using. So, Wiggler gives you a Sky Crystal. With 1 Sky Crystal in hand, the pint-sized pack sets out for the next challenge. So that's Music Room. The Mario crew makes tracks for Bowser's Castle, and then, hey, I see that you're small and all, but I can ask you a big favor? That dumb Hammer Brother is beating up my music instruments. Get rid of him. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it actually says the exact same dialogue from the previous cutscene, but even then, that's all we can actually just clarify for that part. So anyways, now we move on to the next boss battle. Hammer Crime. Memorize the tune that Hammer Brother plays, then repeat it before its music note strikes you. Okay, seems very standard for that looks of it. So yeah, I got to pull out my stylus out. Even if you hit the wrong drum, you can try again if the music note hasn't reached you yet. Take your time despite the danger. So this is by far the easiest boss battle in the entire game, because no matter what though, if you're trying to memorize the pattern right, you should be able to take a damage off him. And by the way, the boss battle minigames themselves are pretty much the uniquest part about the Mario Party game that's firstly introduced boss battles to begin with in the Mario Party game. Granted, it will come back in Mario Party 9, Island Tour, 10, and even Star Rush for that matter. But I digress though, so that concludes Hammer Crime. But even then though, this is pretty easiest minigame I've ever sort of encountered with it. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Thank you. There's something for your troubles. It fell from the sky. Which, if I'm assuming, is going to be the next piece of the Sky Crystal. And that is the boss battle from Toad's Music Room. Toad gives you another Sky Crystal. 2 down, but Bowser's Castle is still a long way off, especially for our tiny heroes. DK Stone Statue. The Mario crew makes its way into a dense forest. They see Diddy Kong, who got lost in the way to Bowser's Castle. Diddy is in panic and won't settle down. But then he managed to show Mario and friends what he's upset about. Oh, fool dreed. DK has been turned into a stone, and Dry Bones is responsible? Perhaps if our heroes defeat Dry Bones, DK will revive to its old self. So, I guess in Dry Bones, he's the only one who actually casted the curse onto DK about turning into a stone itself, which I think that's the main prime example of that. But anyway, third boss battle time. Hexal skeletons search for the fire icons that appear above the magic switches, then ground pound them all to release the fiery blast at Dry Bones. Alright. And now let's look at the tips real quickly. Dry Bones will soon go nuts throwing bones and berries. If you punch a berry, it'll fly at him and he'll be stunned. Use the time to hit a switch. So, what's nifty about this minigame here is that you have an option to actually use the camera function while pressing L and R buttons. So yeah, it's pretty handy for you if you're actually trying to do this minigame in this perspective. But anyways, Dry Bones, as far as this boss battle is concerned, he's pretty easy for the most part. You're gonna have to keep an eye on the top screen if there's any fire icons. You're gonna have to be... Although the first part was actually pretty simple, as soon as it gets to the second hit and the third hit, you need to keep an eye on the fire icons at all times, because what happens is that you're gonna have to go in the correct spawning order when they showcase the fire icons pop up. But even then, that's all you're essentially gonna do. But if you hit the wrong switch when it doesn't do a correct order, you probably have to redo the whole button sequence again, or the switches, I should say. But even then, though, Dry Bones is he's the boss battle in DK's stone statue. Because, you know, he's been responsible for transforming DK into a stone statue for this whole entire time. So yeah, that's how he usually does it for Dry Bones himself. Hey, DK's back into his old self. Diddy hands over a sky crystal that he found along the way as thanks. And he gives a blue one. Kind of think about it, we actually got 3 of them. Well, 3 of those parts anyway. DK remembers something. He runs off. He's running off too. Well, it's time for you to head out to Luigi. Well, just simple stuff. Chemic's Library. Mario and friends finally come within a view of Bowser's castle, and our heroes are speeding towards as fast as their little legs can carry them when... Good timing, little heroes. I have a big problem at hand. That nasty chemic trapped my granddad in this book. God dang it. I've been snuffed in this blasted book. Help me. Find that Corrector's chemic. Warm him good until he lets me out. Sorry for the little bit of a lacking when it comes to dialogue heavy, but that's because I've just found this to be really tiny to read. But even then, no, that's kind of my fault for that situation. But anyway, now we move on to the next boss fight. Book Bash. Survive a flight down Chemic's Library hallway. Then take on the wretched man. Shoot ink orbs or blobs at Chemic's face until he's totally inky. Okay, seems very simple. To at least for as far as I was going to be. Flying books and sliding bookcases will keep you on your toes, so keep an eye out for surprises on your way. And I really do apologize for that dialogue. It's gone a bit messed up here, folks, because again, whenever I did a recording setup for this particular parts of this, the Wii U's Virtual Console eShop download, sometimes it's hard for me to read sometimes, especially noticeable whenever I, trying to know how the story's going to be worked out to be. But anyway, so yeah, Book Bash is by far one of the longest boss battle minigames in the entire game, mostly because you have to encounter this hallway a lot of times. And even then though, perhaps the most, fundamentally, that, you're gonna have to just trying to deal with it. And yeah, he's probably the boss battle in I forget what I said. So again, I'm so sorry for being such a little bit of a nitpicky right there, but anyway, so anyways, as far as Chemic's boss fight is concerned, that he's basically the boss battle in Chemic's library, because he somehow trapped, Chemic's granddad inside of his book, which that's why he's totally responsible for that. But even then though, Chemic makes his boss battle again during, twice, except Mario Party 9 and even Island Tour, for that matter if that counts as well. But even then though, Chemic does make a boss battle again and during Mario Party 10 in Airship Central and even Star Rush. So yeah, I'm still kind of a little bit lamed about because even then though, Chemic is the only playable character in a Mario Party game was actually in Mario Party 9, and that was it. But even then I kind of wish he'll become playable again until whenever either Mario Party 11 comes out, but I don't know. So anyways, as soon as you actually come across into this little hallway, then now is your chance to actually just to shoot these ink blobs into his face. And that's all you do. Basically you have to dodge this lot of books and all that kinds of stuff, and that's all you do for this boss battle. So yeah, it's pretty simple, but even then though, it kind of feels a little bit too long for my taste, but I do really like it still. Okay, beauty, whoosh. Glorious, that book was nasty. Well, truth be told, it might be true. Granddad, thank you kindly. Please take this doodad I found as thanks. So this might be the yellow colored sky crystal, and only one more left. 4 down, yes, our heroes have found all of the remaining sky crystals, but Bowser has one more. Hurry, the final battle with the Fright awaits. The final showdown. Bowser's pinball machine. The half-paint heroes have finally arrived in Bowser's lair. But there's just one problem. In a rush to bash Bowser, they forgot how they are. Which means we're really tiny at the moment. Wahaha, welcome back, small fries. Want to party some more? Everything goes dark for our heroes. What's happening? Check out my pinball machine. No one's got better games than me. Watch me play, Dad. I am the big pinball pro in these parts. Okay, kid, let's see these insects try to survive. I'll squish their superstar. Oh, never liked the sound of that. Bwahaha, get ready for some another shrinkly things for my mini miser and all kinds of stuff. But even then sorry for a bit of a lack of the dialogue heavy, but even then that is really tiny. But anyway. Hey. You broke the mini miser, no! With the mini miser broken, Mario and the rest of the crew return to normal size. Hey, this party isn't over yet. I've got an even more secret weapon. Behold, the Mega Morph Belts. Let me give you a taste of its power. The only true superstar can put Bowser his place once and for all. Which leads us to the final boss in the game, which was in Bowser's block party. Avoid Bowser's attacks after he just transforms into Blockhead Bowser, then waits for your chance to strike his gold weak spot. Alright then, now some tips. Bowser will stack his blocks in different ways, and each of his forms has a different attack. Study his forms carefully to know his attacks. This is by far the hardest boss battle in any other Mario Party game, just in my opinion. Because, we'll explain more into that as soon as the battle starts. But even then though, Bowser managed to get himself a Mega Morph Belt, which is essentially how this secret weapon is. And then he immediately transformed into this little golden block. So this is how this final boss battle works in Mario Party DS. Then again, I found this boss fight to be a lot more tougher than it was in the other bosses because the reason being for this solution is because we'll get into that in a moment. But for now, that this boss battle actually has 3 different segments. One which is the Bowser Tornado thing, which he can actually just temporarily breathe fireball every once in a while, and then occasionally at the second half of this little transformation sequence, he'll actually do a flame tornado. And after when you actually just punch the golden block, that's how you move on to the next phase. And the second phase was actually kind of tricky because you can actually transform into a rotating cube. But even then though, it's kind of impossible to actually hit him a lot of times, especially in your, you don't want to get hit by your first go. But even then, you're just going to have to keep an eye on his directions. Now, the third and final phase is by far the most difficult out of all. Because now he actually got himself a kind of a somewhat of a similar thing as Snake Block. But except a lot more tougher now. Because you have to deal with a lot of dodging on those fireballs. And also not to mention though, if you easily get hit by this phase a lot. Even then though, whenever I had some dreadful memories when I first got the game back in Christmas 2007. I had a lot of trouble with this fight. Like, literally so. I know some people already encountered this situation, but as for me, I had a lot of trouble with this. Even though this boss fight, to me, I found this was much harder than Bowser's Lovely Lift in Mario Party 7 to me. That's just how it is. Anyways, that concludes all the boss fights in Mario Party DS. Oh, Pewee, this stinks. And there goes the 5th and final Sky Crystal. No, not my Sky Crystal! So I wonder what these Sky Crystals can do. Now that the 5 Sky Crystals are together again, what secrets will they reveal? Let's just see as soon as they actually just attach to each other. You've unlocked the triangle twisters, which from this little model right there, it does remind me like I was having my Nintendo DS console in this game. Kinda interesting. Blah, how could a bunch of pathetic Pewees got all the Sky Crystals? Gather the Sky's crystals to reveal an incredible fun challenge. That's what our legends is here at the castle, and I was going to find it all for myself until you clowns wrecked my plans. Well, we've easily defeated you after all. What? You want me to play with you? Ah, what weirdos you are. I guess if you're going to beg a big shot like me, how could I say no? And so our hardly band of parties grew bigger than ever, the more the merrier. From this day forward, Luigi and the crew, in this case Mario from the crew, enjoyed the party and then they were having a fun time. So yeah. And yeah, Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong and having themselves a nice little treat. The end of Mario Party DS's story mode. But even then, I will show the credits to that because even though after watching that particular scene, if you actually be playing through story mode for the first time, you might encounter yourself the start credits to begin with. So yeah, I'm guessing that was about it when it comes to story mode, including cutscenes. This was probably kind of similar to me from Mario Party 4, but except the noticeable difference is that the boards themselves are going to be much more shorter than Mario Party 4 was, because again, 10 turns and all that kinds of stuff. So anyways, we're going to have to end things off here, so join me later on Mario Party DS as that we're about to be moving on into the minigames mode, so even then we can actually showcase all these minigames we have not shown in this Let's Play. So anyways, see you guys then. Later, fellas.